Let's go to Leeds. Wayne's there. Wayne, what did you want to say?
Hi, James.
Hello, Wayne.
First time caller, so a little bit nervous.
It's only me.
To be honest, this conversation has triggered me a bit, actually.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So in 2009, I was attacked, and it was some public place, and I basically was I won't go into too much detail. I was essentially being dragged under these arches, which there was no lighting or anything.
Right.
Thankfully, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a man, bottom of the street, managed to. It was pretty much a last-ditch attempt because I was obviously I couldn't overpower the guy that was attacking me. I just screamed for help, and that was enough for the guy to run off. I reported it to police, and the guy that attacked me went to jail for I think around sort of 3 years. Fortunately, there's footage that caught everything, so I didn't have to go to court or anything. Anyway, in 2015, just watching the news, and there's arches where I was being dragged. Basically, a body was found. Next night, watching the news again, and it was the same guy that attacked me.
He'd come out of jail and then killed someone?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Wayne, flipping out, mate. I'm not surprised this one.
Yeah, and so I was watching the news, and I heard the name of the person, and I knew instantly. I was like, no, it's not a coincidence, obviously, and I just froze. I can remember that news, funnily enough, more vividly than the attack. And then the Serious Crime Investigation Unit, because of the likeness in the circumstances, they wanted to speak to me. Again, I understand. I mean, I tried not to follow the murder trial too much, but I understand he did plead guilty, and I know he was sent to jail for a long time. I feel very selfish for saying this because obviously, from a purely selfish perspective, your immediate reaction goes, if I'd have been taken under them arches, it would have been the same outcome. And so, I'm just really pleased that guy saw, or was just there. It was just pure luck. He was just there.
And intervened. I mean, he wasn't just there.
Well, he did. So he didn't necessarily intervene. It was more that I clocked him walking up, and I just screamed.
I see. So because you didn't know was it a random attack?
Yeah. So I met this guy in this club,
right.
And I was just chatting to him, and when you kind of get vibes.
Yeah.
It was perfectly nice in the club. Perfectly fine, but I just had a bit of a vibe, and I left, and he just followed me out, and then he just changed very quickly.
So a hate crime then.
Well,
probably.
It wasn't because it was on CCTV at the time.
Yes.
He pleaded guilty to robbery.
Okay.
So I mean,
but you had no way of knowing at the time what he may have had in mind.
No.
And then when something happened in identical circumstances years later, your mind has to go there, doesn't it? Really.
Of course, and it was. I was a bit. Yeah, sorry. It's just. Yeah, it was. Because it's selfish.
It's not selfish. It's not selfish. Stop saying selfish. It's not selfish at all. It's self-preservation. Of course you're relieved. It's not selfish to be relieved that you're alive, Wayne.
Well, no, it's not.
Be kind to yourself. You went through hell. That's absolutely awful for you, even though it could have been worse and was for someone else. Don't let that detract from the fact that that's why you're triggered, because the trauma is coming back to you of that terrible thing that happened. And then, in many ways, the mental trauma, long after the physical event, the mental trauma of finding out what might have transpired.
Well, absolutely. And I think because that night, I mean, when I reported to police, they were really good actually. But I know that night when it happened, I had marks around my neck and sort of injuries, and I remember speaking to a bouncer, and they tried to stop a policeman at the time. Unfortunately, they didn't want to assist, so I had to then go. I wasn't actually going to report it originally, but then I think I'd spoke to some of my friends, and a couple of weeks later, I just put this up the courage, and I went, and thankfully I did, because the footage was on it was coming towards the end. So thankfully we managed to.
It would have been erased. I wonder also if there is a case here for the police having missed a trick by only going after a robbery conviction in your case, when clearly the violence of the attack should have been more relevant as well. Oh, crikey. Promise me you'll never use the word
Yeah.
selfish again when you think
I won't.
about
I promise.
when you think
No,
or
I promise.
talk or think about this. I mean it. It's
No, I promise. Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
All right. Take care, mate.
Great. All right. Thanks a lot.
No,
Thanks,
thank
James.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you. That's an incredible story. And a lot of sympathy coming in for you as well. Sarah writes, this poor caller, how awful for him. These calls do make me worried about falling police numbers. I know it's the nature of a phone-in, but still. Yes, I mean, you're quite right to be worried.